Councilmember Nancy Navarro was first elected to represent District 4 in a special election in May of 2009, making her the first Latina to serve on the Montgomery County Council.
Being the first one, it's wonderful, but it comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of challenges.
We are going to fight like hell. This is not just about policing our bodies. And if this is just the beginning, God knows what comes next.
That you don't want to be the first and only one. You want to do a good job because you want others like you to then decide to run and then decide to serve.
Nancy was re-elected in 2010, 2014, and 2018, where she has twice served as council president and vice president.
I was president in 2013 and 2019, and in 2013 particularly, it was important because we were still coming out of a recession. So making sure that my committee would take make the initial decisions that would then lead us to retain our AAA bond rating was always a huge responsibility. And we have retained our AAA bond rating.
Nancy is Venezuelan American, and her love for her heritage illuminates through her outstanding work in the community.
It calls on Congress to propose an amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would grant an individual right to vote.
And Nancy, you're right. The state of Maryland's taking steps to make it easier rather than more difficult for people to vote.
During her career, Nancy has worked hard to improve the lives of Montgomery County residents, and the list of accomplishments is long.
2013 is also when we made our first decision to raise the minimum wage, which was highly controversial.
And as an immigrant woman who actually has worked for minimum wage, this is a very significant moment.
Nancy's lead on important pieces of legislation, earned sick and safe leave.
I kept thinking this morning about how many times did I hear moms secretly sharing that, I give my children Tylenol in the morning so they can go to daycare and at least spend that day because I can't take off that day.
Councilmember Navarro has also been very influential in spearheading major projects that contributed to expanding Wheaton.
An investment of over $436 million in Wheaton.
I am proud to represent this district and this community.
It started with Wheaton High School, with Edison High School.
What careers are you headed to?
Some of us are going into medicine, becoming nurses.
For some of us, like me, I want to become a veterinarian tech.
So this is really cool. This is very exciting.
Please welcome Council President Nancy Navarro.
Then the library, the new project, which is a combination library rec center.
So I was driving up Arcola and realized that the traffic was backed up. I don't know, it was like 2 miles. I realized, okay, this is great.
I'm excited about Wheaton Community Center. Come on out, check us out. The best community center in Montgomery County.
Then the downtown revitalization project, the park and planning building.
For me, this is one of those moments where I know that when I'm asked about legacy project, this building for me represents this.
Platinum LEED, the highest designation of a government building. And the plaza itself, the Marion Fryer Plaza.
So much more ahead, so much more potential.
While the former Colonel Brooke Lee Middle School was being renovated, Councilmember Nancy Navarro wrote a letter to the MCPS superintendent and school board to have the school renamed because Lee was a known segregationist. The school's name was eventually changed to honor Odessa Shannon instead, a local activist who fought for equal rights.
A state-of-the-art school. And it is 90% children of color. It's wonderful. Also put in the CIP money for an arts and cultural center because Wheaton is an arts and entertainment designated area. So those things have been important.
I really do believe that this issue of racial equity and social justice is the social economic imperative of our time.
In 2019, as council president, she spearheaded the successful introduction and adoption of Bill 2719, the Racial Equity and Social Justice Act.
Here in Montgomery County, we're going to do it through legislation because we want to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable.
Conversation about racial equity and social justice, I've always said, has to be grounded in prosperity. Right?
What are we doing to make sure that we grow in terms of our economy, opportunities and jobs in all parts of the county?
It's not just about, putting another initiative or another social program. It's about opening up access to opportunities.
How to approach people of different races and building that greater acceptance within the community.
They're dealing with is racial inequity.
So about making sure that young people have access to those internships that are going to position them when those jobs become available.
Investing in the most marginalized community in our county, because we said when the most marginalized people are liberated, then everyone is liberated.
It's about making sure that if we're going to have a redevelopment and bring jobs, that those jobs have those opportunities ready to go for all of the youth and all of the people that perhaps have never had access to those jobs. That's how you create equity that is sustainable and that is structural.
What the county council and especially under Nancy Navarro's leadership has really left a legacy for the next group of folks to build on.
Navarro was also co-lead sponsor of the Crown Act, which stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair.
It's really aligned with our work on racial equity and social justice. What does it mean to feel like you can't show up as your full self? So it was a real pleasure to work on this particular act and to have it passed and to be part of this national movement.
Nancy also authored the framework for the county's early care and education initiative and the economic development platform.
We know that if we don't have access to quality early care and education, our children enter kindergarten not prepared. Education gap, that access to opportunity gap, affects our children of color.
As chair of the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy GO Committee, Nancy successfully championed increases in the council's budget to enhance resources for multicultural communications and outreach. Nancy also advocated for more inclusive critical resources for those in need during the COVID-19 pandemic. Along with Council President Albornoz, she helped create a proficient effort that saved many lives.
To make sure that we have people from the community, people who speak the language, who are from this community, et cetera, to help make sure that the information is out there, that the support is out there.
Nancy advocated for wellness centers.
It's very faithful to the concept of holistic approaches. It is there, it's in your school. You can feel, you can feel safe, you can feel comfortable accessing that type of support.
Throughout the years, Nancy has been recognized by numerous organizations, publications, and the local community for her leadership and commitment in a variety of public policy areas.
I hope to be remembered as somebody who did not shy away from occupying a very important space.
I am a firm believer that women's leadership in all sectors is an absolute necessity.
Someone who defies labels and defies stereotypes will absolutely not allow anybody to put me in a little box. It is important for me that they see me as, as someone who led with excellence and with generosity and that led from the heart.